Hello, my name is Bob Gallant, a financial advisor with Gallant Wealth Inc. Now, over the past few weeks, we have been through a lot that we have never experienced before. Countries are on lockdown, overwhelmed hospitals, and shortages on normal everyday supplies that we never thought would have been possible. Now, as you can imagine, investors are concerned as well. Questions I get asked a lot are, how is the economy going to be impacted? Are we going to have a recession? Will the stock market recover? When are we going to see the bottom? Now, I suspect we are probably already in the midst of a rapid recession that will recover as the curve becomes flattened and normal businesses begin to operate again. Although it's impossible to predict when the market will bottom under the best of times, given that this is a health crisis, it makes it even more difficult to predict, since the downturn was the result of headline news focusing on the far reach of the COVID-19 as opposed to fundamental economic data. But one piece of historical data has always been true. The stock market always recovers and it always reaches new highs. Amongst all of the uncertainty brought into our lives from this virus, the world governments have collectively put an enormous amount of stimulus into the system that will greatly benefit in our recovery eventually. Interest rates around the globe have been dramatically cut. Gas prices are at levels we haven't seen in quite some time. Now, they won't help today. Cheap gas and low interest rates aren't going to solve a problem when we aren't driving to the mall and spending money. But both of these will greatly stimulate the economy once our lives begin to normalize. Now, what is necessary today is to provide money to businesses, individuals off of work, and most importantly, provide additional support to an already strapped medical system. They've begun to do that as well. It's something that Canada has put billions towards, and the US has put trillions of dollars towards. And it's going to help substantially to keep businesses afloat, to keep households until we can see this flattening of the curve and protect as many lives as we can with additional medical resources. And we'll work through this rapidly growing illness. It's important to realize that companies are going to adapt. If you were to take a look at what's taking place today, you'll see that some alcohol manufacturers have instead opted to produce hand sanitizer, which we can definitely see a need for in our society right this minute. In fact, even some of the car manufacturers are looking at retooling their automotive lines in order to be able to provide those extra ventilators that we absolutely need. Like capitalism, it evolves, it changes. And it's not just related to a circumstance that we're in, a crisis that we're hit right now with the COVID-19. It also works out to the way that it's always been. At one point in time, 100 years ago, there were no more horse and buggy whips that were produced because we replaced it with automobiles. We've also seen a change where, in the last 40 years, how many more businesses have become dedicated towards the internet because it was a new technology that was created and became more efficient. So we will adapt. Capitalism will continue to thrive. We hit a stumbling block, and for most people, you have to take note and keep in tune. What was your long-term focus when you made that initial investment? Certainly, everybody's going to be disappointed when they open up their statements this quarter. Certainly, there's been a lot of panic and a lot of fear in the marketplace. That goes without question, because the one thing that the stock market is, it doesn't like uncertainty. Investors love to have good news. We can deal with bad news, but it's that uncertainty that causes that panic and that knee-jerk reaction. And it's that panic that makes poor decisions on a short-term basis. So if I could offer any suggestions to any of the investors out there, is that keep in mind and keep focused on what you're ultimately trying to accomplish. We've gone through crises before. We're going to go through crises again. But you don't want to make those panic decisions and alter your long-term strategy when it's going to work out eventually. So thank you very much.